when we're ready to go. Oh, you have to admit everyone before I start the meeting.
Yes. Hang on 1 second. I just wanted to have everything up and running first.
Yeah.
Okay, and everybody is being admitted now.
I still see 2 people in the waiting room.
There, yeah,
3.
there's still some people take longer than others to get in for whatever reason.
There's the last person is still joining. I don't want to start until
Yeah,
that person's in.
that makes sense.
All right, looks like everyone's in.
Yep.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the April regular meeting of the Thomaston Planning and Zoning Commission. Seated for tonight's meeting will be Tom Mueller, Bill Guerrera, Elizabeth Jameson, and Brian, I want to say Bouchard. Help me out, Stacy. Brian
Davis.
Brian Davis.
Davis.
Brian Davis, thank you. So we're making history here. We have 32 participants at the moment. That is the most we have ever had at an online meeting. And we do have a couple of public hearings scheduled. So we're going to have to take steps to make sure everyone's heard in an orderly fashion. So what we're going to do is all the non-commission members, we're going to mute those lines so that the meeting doesn't get out of control. And if you wish to speak on any particular topic, there's a raise your hand function in the upper right hand corner of your screen. And there is also a chat window where you can do a group chat to everyone in the meeting. And I see Tom Van Stone has already done that, and his message was is there an opportunity to sign up for public speaking at the hearing agenda item? I wish to speak on a particular application. And we will, when we get Mr. Van Stone, when we get to that application, just raise your hand or remessage us to remind us that you want to speak, and we'll take everyone who wishes to speak in the order that they make that wish known. The other thing is, because there are so many people, what we're going to do is we're going to limit your initial time to speak to a couple of minutes. I have an egg timer here. I don't know. Let's see. Can you see it?
Yes.
I have an egg timer here that we'll use. And on the first go around, we're going to limit you to whatever is in that egg timer. I think it's about 3 minutes. And once everybody has had an opportunity to speak at least once, then we'll make a second round. We'll take a second round of comments, and same rules, and then so on for a third, fourth, fifth round. We're not going to let the meeting go on forever, though. If it gets to 10 p.m. and we haven't finished everything we need to finish, what we'll do is we will continue the meeting to the nearest Wednesday that allows us to do proper noticing, and we'll go on from there. So don't worry about not being heard. We will take extraordinary pains to make sure everybody gets a chance to comment on whatever they need to comment. And the other thing I need to remind everyone is there's a basic ground rule, or two basic ground rules. When you do speak, you need to do two things. You need to clearly state your name and clearly state your address when you get ready to speak. That way you know who you are. So I think that covers all the bases that we need to cover. And again, I ask just everybody to be polite and patient. We are kind of breaking new ground here, so we'll do the best we can. So
And if I
go
may,
ahead.
Chairman,
Yes, you may.
I just wanted to let everybody know that sometimes I have noticed in doing this, sometimes people run into issues during the meeting and then have trouble coming back in. If that should happen and you need to get back in and you're having difficulty doing so, feel free to email me at my email address, which is sefcheck@thomastonct.org. So my first initial, my last name at thomastonct.org.
So why don't you put that in the group chat,
Sure.
Stacy, just so everybody can see it. And I think that definitely takes care of all the boilerplate. So with that, let's move on to our first agenda item, which is a public hearing for special permit application number 2021-02-08-01 per section 21.10 for an existing accessory apartment at 210 Cedar Mountain Road in an RA 80 zone. And the applicant is Andrew Lucibello. And do we see, I see
Mr.
I see
Lucibello
him
is
here.
on.
Yeah. So why don't you unmute him? And I think,
I think we're set
oh,
on
he
that.
is unmuted. I'm sorry. Yeah. And I think what we should do is, Stacy, if you give us a very brief overview, and then we'll let Mr.
Sure.
Lucibello take it from there.
Okay. Just to let you know, the land use office became aware that there was an accessory apartment in the house while it was listed for sale. So it was in the property prior to Mr. Lucibello's purchase of the property. When they contacted me asking the usual questions that people very often call to ask me as they're considering purchasing a property, we had discussed the apartment, and I indicated to him what the process would be if he wished to keep it and what the process would be if he wanted to remove it. He opted to try to continue having the apartment, and so hence he submitted the application that he has tonight. So this is some of the pictures I have from the realtor.com website, and Mr. Lucibello also provided a floor plan for your review. And at your request last month, I did some calculations, so I do have that ready when you're ready for it. But I don't know if Mr. Lucibello had anything else he wanted to say.
So I do want to ask you some questions along those lines, Stacy, but I think before I do that,
Sure.
we should let Mr. Lucibello comment if he wishes to. So Mr. Lucibello, I assume you can hear us all. What do you
Yeah.
have anything to say?
I don't, unless you have a question for me.
Not at this point. But so we'll move forward. Stacy, I really only have one question for you. Does it meet all the requirements of our regulations?
I believe so. I did you can see up on the screen right now, the floor plan. So for clarity, this is the main dwelling unit in its entirety up here. The office, as you come down the stairs, is also part of the main dwelling unit. The apartment is this area here that I'm marking with the arrow. So using the measurements provided, the primary residential unit is 1,580 square feet. The apartment area is 582.5 square feet, and per your usual calculations, that does not include the bathroom or the closets. So that is, as far as that goes, there is an independent access way right here. It's a sliding door to the back, and I think I might have one more picture to show you with that. There's also, this is the front door here, steps go down and steps go up. And I had spoken with Mr. Lucibello after our last meeting, and he indicated a door could be placed right here to seal off this area. So it's the one private access here, and then the required access to the side or rear would be here. There's ample parking, and Mr. Lucibello does live on the property. So yes, I do believe he meets.
Thank you very much. Does any member of the commission have any questions or comments or concerns? Okay, I'll take that as a no. So at this point, it is a public hearing. I will open it up to the public. Again, name and address, please, and just direct all your questions to me, the chairman, and we'll farm them out as required. So if anyone wishes to speak, please either raise your hand or send us a note in the group message box.
I do see one person has their hand raised.
I don't see that, so go ahead and unmute them. Oh, I do see it. G7 thin Q.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Whoever is G7
you should
thin
be,
Q, you should be unmuted. Go ahead and let us know
Ralph.
what you have to say.
Ralph, it's Julie, and I raised my hand too soon. I'm waiting for the next hearing. It's Julie Engel.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right. Yep. And I see Tom's iPad has their hand raised. Is that intentional, Tom? You're muted, Tom. I can't hear you.
I am not seeing any more hands being raised, and I do
I
not
just
see any commentary in the chat.
Right, I don't either. And I just want to circle back to Tom. Did you have a comment, Tom? Tom, we're not hearing you if you're talking. I can see your lips moving, Tom, but I can't hear a thing. He's not muted on the other line, is he, Stacy?
He shouldn't be, but let me double check.
I am
Tom's
now
iPad is
unmuted.
unmuted.
I was muted before and I couldn't unmute it. It wouldn't allow me to.
All right, but we can hear you now. So
Yep,
did you have
I'm
any
okay.
comments
I'm
here?
okay now.
Okay. Any comments?
No, the questions I had have been answered already.
Okay. All right. Well, since there are no further comments from the commission and no further comments from the public, I would like to entertain a motion to close this public hearing.
Tom Mueller, so moved.
Thank you very much, Tom. Is there a second to the motion?
Members should be unmuted.
Elizabeth is muted. I can see her talking.
Oh, Bill is unmuted too. My
and same thing
apologies.
for Bill. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
All right, Bill is unmuted. I see Brian and Elizabeth. Elizabeth is unmuted. Brian is still muted. All right, so
Oh.
Tom Mueller made a motion to close the public hearing. Is there a second to the motion?
Elizabeth Jamison, second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion on the motion? Okay, Tom Mueller, how do you vote?
Tom Mueller, aye.
Bill Guerrera, how do you vote?
Bill Guerrero, aye.
Elizabeth Jamison, how do you vote?
Elizabeth Jamison, aye.
Brian Davis, how do you vote?
Brian Davis, aye.
And Ralph Salone also votes aye, so the public hearing is closed. You know, it's probably more expedient to take action on this application now rather than move it later down into the meeting. So does anybody wish to make a motion to accept, modify, or deny this application?
Tom Mueller, I make a motion to accept the application number 2021-02-08-01 for an accessory apartment at 210 Cedar Mountain Road.
Thank you very much, Tom. Is there a second to the motion?
Might I just interrupt and
Oh,
do we mean approve rather than accept?
Okay,
All right, is there a second to the motion?
Elizabeth Jamison, second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion on the motion? Very good. Tom Mueller, how do you vote?
Tom Mueller, aye.
Bill Guerrera, how do you vote?
Bill Guerrero, aye.
Elizabeth Jamison, how do you vote?
Elizabeth Jamison, aye.
Brian Davis, how do you vote?
Brian Davis, aye.
And Ralph Salone also votes aye, so the motion carries unanimously. Mr. Lucibello, so you're all approved, and good luck to you.
Thank you so much.
Hey, I have a question that has nothing to do with this, but I'm going to ask anyways. The previous owner of your property,
Yes.
I used to drop my empty egg crates off to her. Would they be of any use to you?
No, I
Okay.
don't know what you would use egg crates for.
To put eggs in, naturally.
Oh, yes, so she had chicken. No, we,
Okay.
at this time not, but I will call you if we get chickens.
Okay, I actually, I live right down the road from you. I walk by your place every day when I take my walk with my wife.
Oh, great. Well, I'm sure I'll run into you.
All right. Good luck. I hope everything works out well for you.
Thank you so much.
And good evening to you.
Good evening.
All right, next on our agenda is a special permit application number 20. I'm sorry, I made a mistake. Next on our agenda is a public hearing for special permit application number 2021-02-25-01 per section 4.5.c.12 for live outdoor entertainment at Clocktown Brewery at 135 South Main Street in an M2 zone, and the applicant is George LaCapra. Is the applicant on board
Yes, he
this
is.
evening? Okay.
Yes,
then-
he is. Let me just unmute him.
Okay. And everybody else except the commission members are unmuted, right? I mean, muted.
Yes.
Okay. So as in the previous application, Stacy, why don't you give us a very brief overview?
Okay. You will recall the commission approved Mr. LaCapra's application. Oh gee, I want to say back in spring of 2019 for the brew pub, Clocktown Brewery, at the old Seth Thomas building. And along the way, he did obtain that approval. As a part of that approval, he was allowed entertainment inside the building. And it was made clear to him at that time that should he later wish to have anything outdoors, it would need to come back before the commission. Along the way, he did get a modification of his site plan in order to put in the outdoor patio that he now has. And it was indicated then as well. Excuse me, I'm getting a little bit of feedback here. Mr. LaCapra just contacted me probably a couple months ago to indicate that he was hoping to start having some live outdoor entertainment when the weather got better. And to that end, he submitted the application that is before you. He can go into more detail on it, but if you just give me a moment, I can show it to you. Yeah, here's the application. He provided one site plan. And
Let me interrupt you for one moment, Stacy. So now,
oh,
some people may have
Sure.
issues reading these documents on their screen, but they are available on the town website to download. Is that correct?
that is correct. That's actually what I have open right now.
Okay.
And
So yeah, if anybody needs
specifically,
if anybody needs the URL, it's right there. And you can.
yes. Now you'll
You know what,
see
why don't you
on
paste
here,
that? Why don't you paste that URL into the chat window to make it easier for everyone?
I will, just give me a second because some of the meeting materials might be at the March as well, because that was when the application was accepted. Just want to make sure we have everything up here. Yes, we do. Okay. Bear with me. Okay, so here you go. This is where you would find it. And specifically, if you go into meeting material, that's where you'll see this information. And I'll get back to it right now.
Yeah, thank you. I'm sorry to interrupt you. But
No, no
continue.
problem.
Continue, please.
Sure. So there is one other, if you can bear with me again, I want to get Mr. LaCapra's statement of purpose on this particular application. Here we go. Okay. So the letter states, "Dear P&Z members, this is in consideration for the recently submitted application for approval of acoustics and amplified music on the outdoor patio. I am requesting consideration for approval to have acoustics and amplified music on Thursday and Friday between the hours of 2 to 10 p.m. and Saturday and Sunday between the hours of 12 to 10 p.m. This would include approval for live bands, DJs, and acoustic solo guitarists. Typically, these performances will be 2 to 3 hours in length at any given time between these requested hours, and there would be no more than one performance per day." So that is the application that we have before us.
Thank you. Now, Mr. LaCapra, do you have anything to add?
I do not. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. You know, we're looking to add some outdoor music to the outdoor patio.
So I see a little discrepancy between the application that we're looking at here
Yeah.
and the letter of intent that Stacy just read to us in regards to the times.
Yep.
Which are you really requesting?
Yeah, I mean, so the hours, this was submitted, and then I submitted the statement of use, and so you know, I realized that 8 o'clock, you know, maybe too soon because we close at 10. I'm requesting pretty much the hours that were open, even though the band hours would not be that. essentially, or the music would not go to the when we are closed, because our kitchen closes an hour before we close. And so we close at 10 o'clock on every night, except Sunday, we close at 7. But to keep it consistent, I went with the hours, 10 p.m.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to bring up or point out or add?
I do not. The regular, the C12 regulations state I need to be 250 feet from any residence. And so where the music is and where the brewery is well over that. Well over that. It's close to 500 feet from the nearest residence outside the entrance to the brewery, to the parking lot. So just wanted to state that.
Okay, thank you very much. As before, we'll see what the commission has to say first, and then we'll open up to the public. So is there any member of the commission that has any questions, comments, or concerns about this application right now at the moment?
Not a concern, but you noted the discrepancy, which I'm trying to find, but one performance, does that mean one band, or is that?
Yeah,
I'm not opposed to the hour thing. I don't think it matters. So I'm just trying to.
one 2 to 3 hour performance during any of those particular days.
Oh, okay.
So someone, on a Saturday, we could have someone play from 2 to 5 in the afternoon, or we could choose to have them between 5 and 8.
Okay.
So it would be one performance. We could have, someone on Friday night and someone on Saturday afternoon.
Oh, okay. So you would never see it exceeding that. Again, not a concern. I just didn't know when you said stay within the hours. I was just trying to.
Yeah, I put the hours of flexibility because if there's a holiday that falls in there and it goes a little later, like sometimes a holiday would fall on a Sunday or a Friday, and we wanted to stay open till 11 o'clock. Could we?
Oh yeah. No, I understand. I don't see the impact of having more than one performance. So I'm trying, that's all. Like if for some reason, whatever, you have an afternoon thing and an evening thing. So I was just trying to see what was the difference,
Okay, great, thanks. Brian, did you have something to say? I saw you were gesturing. You're muted though, Brian. Can you unmute yourself? Stacy, can you unmute Brian?
Yeah, just a moment.
Hang on a second, Bill. I'll get to you, okay?
Just trying to get to him. Okay, you should be unmuted from my end, Brian.
Still nothing, Brian. Hang on.
All right.
There you go.
My question is, what is that? That building and complex is an M1 or 2 zone?
M2.
That's heavy industry, correct?
It's manufacturing.
Yeah. So I mean, it's basically heavy industry. So, I'm just saying, as far as the noise or anything like that, it's really a mute point because there could be something much more intensive there. All hours of the day and night.
So Brian, you broke up.
I just want to make that point is all.
Yeah, you broke up a little bit, Brian. Can you restate that again?
Being that it's a heavy industry site, there would be much more intensive noise or something like that. I feel, and that could be all hours of the day and night. That's just a point I wanted to make. So
yes, that is a valid point. Thank you very much. Elizabeth, hang on, let me get Bill first. Bill, did you want to comment on
Yes.
something?
Yes. Stacy, can you comment
on the setback, the residential setback with respect to our regulations, and what is permitted by virtue of those, of that setback?
Sure. In a nutshell, the regulations, as Mr. LaCapra indicated, require 250 feet from the nearest residence. He does exceed that. And if you bear with me a moment, I can bring up the GIS so that you can see that for yourselves. Other than your general special permit conditions, that is the only specific requirement for live entertainment. Here we go. For some reason, it's taking a while to load. Here we go.
Gotta be 300 something feet, I'm assuming.
Okay. Okay, I have the town GIS right now.
But you're not sharing that screen with us.
Oh, well, that would help, would it not? There you go.
There you go. So,
Okay, and again, it's still
can you,
unfortunately being slow, but
but it's good enough to look
The-
at now. Can you point out, please, the area of the brewery itself and the patio?
the brewery is back here. The patio area is back here, where my
Perfect.
arrow is indicating.
And can you point out the entrance exit to the parking lot?
It's right in here, is it not, Mr.?
No, the
No, I
parking
meant
lot,
the main parking lot.
Oh, right over here. It comes
Thanks.
right over here, comes through and then through these two buildings down over here.
And to the south, the nearest neighbor is it's a line of houses, right?
There is here on Maple Street. There are
No,
houses along
yep.
here.
And on the other direction,
In the other
one of the-
direction, the closest one would be this house right here.
and the one other direction is the river, and then the one remaining direction would be across the street, basically where
These are businesses over here.
Sushi Q is located. And it used to be a medical office across the street.
Exactly right
Yeah.
here.
Okay. And those are well beyond the 250-foot setback. This image is not scaled anyplace, right? I don't see one on there.
I have like 50 windows open here and it might be hidden under that. Hang on one second. No, it's not saying it on here.
But it is, again, the setback
Here.
is 250 feet, and it is well beyond 250 feet.
Follow up to that. So what we're saying is a matter of right. The applicant is entitled to the use. The purpose of this hearing and the commission would be to limit and or modify the extent of the entertainment. Would that be correct?
Well, it
Well,
certainly meets,
go ahead, Stacy.
oh, I'm sorry. It certainly meets the requirements for this the specifically stated requirements for this special permit use.
Yes. Okay.
All right. So Bill, before I move on, are your questions satisfied? Okay,
Yes.
Elizabeth, you had a question?
Well, I was just gonna agree with Brian. I wanted to understand if the applicant was limiting himself to a particular time frame for a certain reason, or if, like, as we're talking about the zone and about what Brian said, if that use, if it's within the hours of business. if that's what makes sense, that's all.
Okay.
Or if he's self-imposing his own restriction.
Well,
versus
and
if he,
the state for that particular business, the state actually imposes hours of operation.
well, I mean, with the entertainment though, like if there's, he said within the business hours, but I didn't know if that meant one performance meant what, he gave a parameter of hours, but if he would be by the writing of our regs allowed all day to do that, I was just trying to understand the difference if he's limiting
It would be,
himself.
yeah, it would, he can, let's put it this way, he can ask for anything under the sun.
Yeah.
The limitations are basically what we may or may not impose.
Correct. So I
through the
was
special
agreeing with,
permit process. Yeah.
I was just calling out, I was asking the same question as Brian, but in a different, coming from a different approach. That's all.
Okay.
That's
all
right. But then I was muted.
Thank you very much. I just want to make one more pass through the commission. Does any other commission member have questions, comments, or concerns before I open it up to the public? Okay, very good. Mr. Van Stone was the first one to mention that he wanted to speak on this application. So again, if you would please, Mr. Van Stone, name and address before speaking. And he's unmuted, right? No, he's not. Would you
I was
unmute him,
trying
please,
to, and
Stacy?
yeah,
Let me see if I get it. Hold on.
here we go. I got it.
Okay.
Okay. You should be unmuted from our end, Mr. Van Stone.
Mr. Chairman, Commission, thank you very much for allowing me to speak. My name is Thomas Van Stone from 67 Valley View Road in Thomaston, Connecticut. I'm speaking in favor of the application to allow live music at the Clocktown Brewery. I just want to make a couple notes of things that I have observed that would support the claim to allow and pass this special permit. As it's been stated a couple of times, the use is permitted according to Section C12 of the zoning regulations. The site is zoned as M2. There are several other different zones around this. The nearest residential zone would be outside the parking lot around Maple Street in the green. Those are zoned for RS15, the highest density residential areas in the town. It's the smallest congruent population of RS15 and is smack dab in the middle of M1, M2, and general commercial. So it stands to reason that while that is a residential area, it should be assumed and expected that there is commercial activity around there, and it should be no surprise that there is this type of activity here. One other interesting note that I find is that we all know that we have concerts on the town green, that triangle right there on the northern side of this parcel. That too is zoned RS15, and if you look at the permitted uses table, RS15 is not allowed to have live entertainment, yet we do know that we have concerts there in the summertime, and those are deemed widely acceptable, even by the admission of several residents in the Maple Street area. So it stands to reason that if music on the green where zoning is prohibiting that activity is allowed, the zoning board is almost obligated to allow live entertainment in a zone where it is allowed. The one thing I will mention too is that according to the Connecticut General Assembly Office of Legislative Research and Report from August 8th, 1994, citing the 1983 publication, The Connecticut Land Use Regulation, a legal guide for lawyers, commissioners, consultants, and other users of the land, which zoning members and lawyers and judges should know very well, has often been cited as the authority for special permit activities. They do state this, they do make this statement. Residents opposing a special permit must show that the proposed use does not meet the conditions specified in the regulations. Otherwise, the commission must approve the permit if these conditions are met. As a 5-year member of the Waterbury, Connecticut Zoning Commission, I can totally appreciate the position that you guys are in, where you have to balance the concerns of the town residents against the rules and regulations that you're obligated to enforce. I trust that you'll respectfully consider the opposition that you may hear today, but ultimately recognize that the use is permitted, and a decision otherwise could be a legally sticky situation and open up the town and the zoning board to potential litigation. And I know nobody really wants to go through that. So I really appreciate your time and allowing me to speak on this tonight. I reiterate that I am speaking in support of approving this application, as I find that the use is absolutely adequate and permissible, and that objection to this application would not be consistent with what is allowed in our regulations. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments, and thank you also for wrapping up before my egg timer ran out and I didn't have to interrupt you. Next, Ms. Ingham wanted to speak, so if you would
Okay.
please unmute her, and that was,
Hang on.
I forgot what her ID was.
It was the G7 one, I
Yeah,
believe,
yeah, it
and
was.
I am unmuting you from my end.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes,
Okay, thank you very much. I'm Julie Ingham from 70 Elm Street. I'm about 4 houses up from the Seth Thomas parking lot. And I am here to speak in support of this application. This has been an unbelievable, wonderful place for Thomaston. I think it's just opened up so many doors and brought so many people into town that will support our other businesses. And I agree with Tom's comments about where we're situated. We are in a mixed, bag of zones down here. And, we have tractor trailer traffic at 3, 4, 5 in the morning. People burning around with their motorcycles. And I'm getting a little feedback here. I think, when you live in an area like this, it's to be expected. And I would much rather hear music than a lot of the other sounds that I'm hearing at my residence. So I'm sure you have so many people waiting. That's all I wanted to say. And I wanted to thank George and Stacy LaCapra for bringing this phenomenal place to our community. It's definitely a destination. And I thank the commission members for hearing me tonight.
thank you very much for your comments, and thank you also again for not running out my egg timer. And there was a Tammy Mail or Mailhot that had typed some stuff into the text window. I wonder if we can unmute her.
I
Okay.
have unmuted her. Did you want to reiterate the comments you made in the chat?
Sure.
Tammy, or?
Sure. Hi, I'm Tammy Mailhot. I'm over at 37 Maple Street in Thomaston. I know there's been a lot of discussion about noise levels and what have you. The concert's on the Greens, ends at about 8:30. It doesn't really bother me. As a matter of fact, most of the time I have dinner out on the table on my porch because I literally can see the green from my house. I have heard the music coming when they first opened, and I just, chalked it up. I didn't know where the noise was originally coming from, to be honest with you, because when it's that far away, it sounds like noise. When I realized it was coming from the brewery, I just turned up the volume on my TV. My concern is that I work at 7 o'clock. I have to be in work at 7 a.m. It means that at 10 o'clock at night, and this is what I had seen on a paper, that they were looking to go until 10. If it's 8:30, I don't care. That's fine. If it's going to go to 10, then it's 10:30, then it's 11. And I truthfully am close enough that I can hear the noise. In terms of the tractor trailers driving by, that's cars driving by. It's not the same as having loud music playing. And like I said, from a distance, it's different. I really don't care that they're going to have music. I just hope that it's, not until, like I said, the later hours. From what I've been told, or what I'm seeing now, is that they're looking at about 8:30, which is fine. I don't have a problem. I think it would be great, but like I said, if it's later, it becomes an issue for me in terms of being able to get the sleep I need to go off to work in the morning. I leave here at 5:30 and I do work weekends. It's not every weekend, but look, are they going to go according to my schedule? No. Would I expect them to? Absolutely not. But by the same token, I know that they're looking to do this as a means to, bring more business in, and I get that. But if they can just not have it until what I saw in the paper was showing that it was 10 o'clock. The paper that you guys showed, it shows 8, and that's fine. I mean, more power to them. And that's really all I had to say regarding it. It's more of a concern about the later hours. So hope they do well. I wish them well. And I thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you very much. Stacy, I have a question for you. The only other application that similar to this that I can remember was Epicure.
Yes.
And I'm not sure if you have the info at your fingertips, but can you tell us what hours we approved there for the entertainment?
I do not have it in front of me, but if memory serves, it was a Friday and a Saturday, and it was until 10.
Okay, thank you.
Can I piggyback on that, Mr. Chairman?
Sure.
There must be a season or a number of weeks. I guess that wasn't brought up. Is it, we're talking like May 1st to October or something. We're not talking the whole year when it's 0 degrees out. So I think that should be probably clearly defined before people.
Well, yeah, but in neither application, there was no seasonality involved. So
there was with Epicure.
Was there?
We
I don't recall.
specified like something like early October. It could have been because of COVID, but it was in writing and it hasn't been amended. So something about.
Oh, you're referencing the regulation amendment, what we had done in response to COVID and outdoor dining.
It could be, but it wasn't. I don't know if that was released or amended, but I think he was there during COVID, but I think what still happened was he's still committed to a window regardless. So is there a seasonal window that, fits into this, that puts it in better perspective for people to,
Realistically, it's whatever Mr. LaCapra requests. If he wishes to specify a given season, I mean, like you say, logic would dictate it's probably not going to happen in a negative 20 day in the middle of January, but he did not request, and he's not obligated to request that.
Okay. Well, there's bad weather, there's rain there, if he says Memorial Day to Labor Day, and weekends, I feel like that's like 10 days. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just want to put it in a better overall perspective. So I don't know. And if there's no parameter for that right now, then I guess we can't consider it, but I wanted to raise that question.
And yes, and right now, as the application stands, there is no seasonality involved. So let me just comment. I see that Jamie Weisman has a hand raised.
Yes.
And there are some other comments in the chat window. Let me just make sure that I don't need to.
Well, we can read them if you'd like. We can read them aloud so that they're from T to everyone. I don't need to speak. Christina Malaconi, if I'm saying your name wrong, I apologize. 86 Elm Street, I am in support of the application. From Janet, I don't need to speak either, but this is Janet Bergamo of 4 Warner Lane, and I am in full 100% support of this application. Alan Olivero, 203 Branch Road here. I don't need to speak, but I am in full support of the application. Jess, I don't need to speak. I am located on 72 River Street. I am 100% in support of this application.
And that was Tiffany Torres at 72.
Tiffany Torres. Oh, okay, 72 River Street. And then if you want,
another one. I see another one just popped up. 2 more.
Okay, Megan Masiokis, if I'm saying your name wrong again, I apologize. 88 Branch Road, totally in favor of this.
And there
Tim
was a
Scatana, 67. Patricia Lane, I don't need to speak. I support this application. Ian Jones, I don't need to speak, but I'm in support of this application, 2 Branch Road.
Okay,
And I
that takes
believe
care of
that is
everyone there
everything.
for the moment. Yes. So let's move
And
on
I do have. Okay, go ahead.
Let's move
I'm
on
sorry.
to Jamie Weisman.
Okay, you should be able to speak now, Mr. Weisman.
Hi. Oh, I'm a girl. Hi, I'm Jamie.
That's one of those names, could go either way.
Oh,
Sorry.
sorry. I'm sorry.
No problem. Jamie Weisman. I live at 56 Elm Street, right around the corner I fully support music every 8 p.m., 10 p.m., whatever. I think that the brewery has brought a lot of positivity to the community. My family, I have 3 children. I live with my mother and my husband, and we've gone down there several times and have felt nothing but joy during a time of tremendous challenge, i.e. the pandemic. And I think that the live music will just be a continuation of all of that positivity and joy, even for us locals. So I just wanted to say my little part there. I know I could have typed it, but I just wanted to mention all of that positive stuff. So thank you.
Thank you. And the other comment that came across the chat window was from Chris DeLeon, 650 Hickory Hill Road. In favor, I support this application. I don't see any more hands raised. Do you, Stacy?
I'm looking right now. I do not see hands raised. Just a reminder to anybody in the audience, if you would like to speak, you can either go into the chat and do it that way, or you can raise your hand, use the raise your hand function in Zoom, which if you go into more, it should show you some options, including raise your hand. While we're waiting to see if anybody else has anything, I do have 2 letters to read into the record, Mr. Chairman.
Would you please?
Okay. Hang on one second. Okay, bear with me. Okay, I have one from a Krista Gillespie. If I'm saying your name wrong, I apologize. 49 Maple Street is her address. Special permit application 2021-02-2501 per section 45C12 for live entertainment at Clocktown Brewing. I'm writing to express my support for the above referenced special permit application for live outdoor entertainment. I reside directly across the street from the entrance to the brewery, and I have never heard any disruptive music or other noises coming from the brewery.
She works there.
Whoever you are, you have not been given the opportunity to speak. So if you could please. Oh, you know what? We need Tammy, we need to mute that. I'll take care of that. Oh, never mind. It's muted. The distance from my house is far enough away from where the outdoor music will be that I don't believe there will be any noise issues, even up until 10 p.m. on weekends or weekdays. There are summer concerts in Seth Thomas Park that are in closer proximity to my house than the Clocktown brewing venue, so I don't see any issue why this application should not be granted as is. Thank you. And then I do have one other. While you're pulling that up, another one came across in the chat. It says, Jim Bowden, although I have moved out of town, I can't wait to be able to visit soon, and Clocktown will be my first stop right after Patty's. Okay, this one comes from Marcia Thompson, 46 Elm Street. I do not want to hear live music from the Clocktown Brewery ever. All music must be kept indoors of the establishment. There is already way too much noise on Elm Street where I live. Motorcycles are frequent travelers up the street, especially in the good weather, and they cause so much loud noise that I am unable to sit and enjoy my front porch in the nice weather. I have lived on the street since I was a baby. When I was younger, trucks and motorcycles were not allowed to cut through town on Elm Street. However, I can see this has changed over the years since I moved away and then came back to town. Noise is painful. I am certain there are many environmental laws against this. Our area does not need this happening to us. Having more noise at a brewery is such a dreadful, terrifying thought to me, and I hope the town will not approve this. I'm totally against having any music being played outdoors near my home. Silence is golden. We need peace in the hectic world of today. I know I do. I hope the town will be caring and respectful of our neighborhood and not permit outdoor music, especially from a brewery. Sincerely, Marcia Thompson.
And those are the two written correspondence I've received.
Okay, I'm gonna ask anyone else that wishes to speak to either raise your hand and I'm looking through the list of participants, or to put something in the message window, the chat window. And we'll get to you either way, but we're not gonna wait forever. And I see that Chris DeLeon has his hand raised, so I unmuted you, and if you could again just do the formality of the name and address before you speak.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Chris DeLeon, 650 Hickory Hill Road in Thomaston. I really don't see it being a problem. I think the concerts are going to be ended. If there is an ordinance, the concerts will be ended before the town ordinance. So it really shouldn't be a problem, I don't think.
Thank you. Short and sweet, huh?
Yes.
Very good. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay, I believe that is Marcia Thompson, who also has her hand raised.
Oh, very good. Let's unmute her.
Okay, Marcia, I'm unmuting you from my end. There you go.
Can you hear my voice?
Yes, we can.
Right. It's really a pleasure to be at the meeting tonight and to hear everybody and to get people's opinion.
So just for the record, your name and address, please.
Marcia Thompson, 46 Elm Street.
Thank
I
you.
hear people saying that they don't feel the noise will be that loud. That's my only fear, that the noise is so loud that it reaches to the corner of Elm Street. If it's music just outside the area where people are socializing, I don't see any trouble with that whatsoever. I just don't have a feel of how loud the noise is going to be. The music in the park when they have activities is wonderful, and reasonable and manageable. I was thinking I got this letter because they were concerned that I would hear music from where the brewery is. That's a very long distance, and that would mean the music would be extremely loud, and I would be really uncomfortable with that. Of course, I want the business to do well. I want people to be happy. If the noise level is just for people sitting around the brewery and doesn't extend all the way over to the park and the corner of Elm Street where I live, that's reasonable. But when it was not defined, I had no idea how loud this was going to be. I just got a letter saying there was going to be music, so I expected it would be extremely loud to reach the corner of Elm Street and Maple Street. And truly in the summer with the traffic that goes by, it is so loud. As I said, I really can't sit on my front porch. I go elsewhere. I go on picnics. I go hiking. That's all. I just the level of the noise is what it concerns me. If it's going to extend that far, it's to me really dreadful. If it's going to be reasonable, I have no problem with that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I have a question for you. You referenced a letter that you received. I'm unaware of any letters. Is that something you can share with us?
Yeah, I got something in the mail that there was going to be this Zoom meeting tonight. I spoke to Stacy. I assumed everybody else got the same letter. Like the lady just spoke about the time, and all that was in the letter for me tonight. I can't see anybody on the screen. I only can see you and Stacy. I've never been to a Zoom meeting like this. Usually everybody's picture's there. You could see if somebody wants to raise their hand. So I guess the connection isn't very well, but I did get a letter in the mail.
That would have been the legal noticing that was provided as required for every public hearing.
Oh, for the abutting property owners?
Exactly.
Oh, okay. All right. So
Did you have a question you wanted to ask me?
that was the one question, and the gist of your concerns are around the volume level of the music, if I'm interpreting you correctly. Is that
Yeah, I think that's what it is, sir. Just the
so?
volume.
I think that would be a fair question to address to Mr. LaCapra and see if we can get a temperature check of what
It's a little
the
bit hard to hear him because I think he's far from the microphone. I've been trying to hear him.
so hold on a second, please.
Okay. Hang
Is he
on one sec.
muted or unmuted?
No, I think can you hear me?
Yeah, you are a little low. Can you maybe get a little closer to the computer or the microphone?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
That is
Yes,
better,
yes, we
yeah.
can.
Yeah, so, we're not talking about concerts. We're talking about music that people can enjoy while they're outside on the patio. So if it's too loud, they're not going to be comfortable eating on the patio while music is playing. So if you can hear it at the corner of Elm Street, I think we're going to be blowing some eardrums out on the patio that's closest tables to the band. Or we're talking acoustic, a one person acoustic. We're talking 2-piece band or a 3-piece band. We're not talking full concerts, 5, 10-piece kind of band. So this is kind of casual music to enjoy at a nice Saturday afternoon at the brewery, and not a concert that starts at 8 o'clock at night and goes to 10. So I just want to kind of clarify, we're talking about lower volume, mellow stuff, not hard rock kind of concerts that we're talking about at outdoor venues. So I just wanted to clarify what type of music that we like and we want our customers to enjoy so they can talk while they eat and listen to some background music.
So, Mr. LaCapra, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I just want to summarize, and I just want you to check me if I'm correct or wrong.
Mhm.
The level of the music would be such that it would be easy to carry on a normal conversation at the patio.
Yes, I would say that is correct.
All right, thank you. So, Miss Marcia, whose last name I forget, I'm sorry.
Thompson.
Does that address your concerns?
Of course it does. I have never been to a place that served alcohol that had quiet music ever. And so I'm surprised and I'm very happy to hear that if you're at this establishment and socializing, that you'll be able to speak and hear the person that you're at the table with. That's a whole different picture I have of this type of an establishment.
So thank you again very much. I'm glad that we were able to address your concerns.
And thank you for helping me.
Thank you, Marcia.
Let's
You have 3 people with their hands raised.
yeah, I was just say let's mute Miss Marcia, and only because this is in the order that they appear on my screen, let's go to whoever is Ian Jones's iPhone first, please, Stacy.
Okay, Mr. Jones, I'm unmuting you. Mr. Jones?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Fantastic. Hi, Ian Jones, 2 Branch Road in Thomaston. I just wanted to address something to Marcia. I'm the person that takes care of all the audio for the summer concert series now. And
Can I interrupt you for a moment, please?
Sure.
We don't normally allow participant to participant conversations. However, since you are the techie guy,
right,
we'll and it is a technical question, we'll let it go. So
okay,
proceed.
Excellent. Yes, I just want to say, as the person that has taken over the audio for the summer concert series, I would imagine, and I would say 99.9% sure that any music that would be coming from the brewery would be lower in volume to where she is located than what the summer concert series would be.
Thank you.
just
Yep. Was
by
that it?
virtue of distance. So, and yes, that's all I needed to say.
Okay, thank you very much. Again, just because this is the order they show up on my screen, there's someone named Jess. Would you
Okay.
unmute that person, please?
You should be unmuted now.
Yes, I am. I'm actually Tiffany Torres. I know that I said I didn't need to speak, but I am on 72 River Street. So I'm in pretty close proximity to the brewery. I think it's been a great asset to the town. Living in River Street, you do hear, as, I think it's Marcia said, the tractor trailer trucks, we do hear, but it's pleasant to hear that we're going to hear, good things, we're going to bring, businesses to the town, but also visiting the brewery on several occasions. I'm very happy and pleased to be able to add more to this town and to just bring people together, as Mrs. Weiss said too, it's huge. I mean, I know someone with little kids or younger kids too. I mean, I get up early in the morning too. And I think it's just perfect that, there's a possibility we can add something so pleasant to the town.
Thank you very much. Anything else before we mute you again?
No, thank you.
Thank you. And Stacy, I see Tammy has her hand up again.
Okay, Tammy, you should be unmuted. Are you able to speak, Ms. Malott? And if I'm saying your name wrong again, I apologize. I don't know, she disappeared off of my, okay. You are unmuted from my end.
Unmute.
Uh,
Can you hear
there
me now?
Yes,
Yes.
Okay.
yes, you were
Sorry
muted on
about
your
that.
end, but go ahead.
Okay, so Tammy over at 37 Maple. I'm glad that Marcia asked the questions that I probably should have asked beforehand. So with that being said, I honestly pictured very loud concerts in the back there, which would reverberate against the mountainsides and what have you. So knowing what I know now, I hope that they have a great, music venue for themselves. I don't have any issues at this point.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna ask one more time. If there's any public comment, raise your hand, type in the message box.
We do have one
I
more
see-
comment. Yep.
I see Becky Spinka, and I apologize, I'm sure I massacred that, from 663 Walnut Hill Road. I do not need to speak, but I wish to state I am in support of this application for live outdoor entertainment at the Clocktown Brewery.
I am not seeing any other hands raised.
I'm not either, so I'm gonna say at this point, there does not appear to be any further public comment, and I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Thank you. And that motion was made by,
Bill?
thanks, I knew that, but I just wanted you to say it.
Thank you.
Is there a second to the motion?
Tom Mueller, I second it.
Thank you, Tom. A motion's been made and seconded. Is there any discussion on the motion? Okay, with that, Bill Guerrera, how do you vote?
Aye.
Tom Mueller, how do you vote?
Tom Mueller, aye.
Elizabeth Jamison, how do you vote?
Elizabeth Jamison, aye.
And Brian Davis, how do you vote?
Brian Davis, aye.
And Ralph Salone also votes aye, so that motion carries unanimously. I think it's probably in the best interest of expediency if we take action on this motion at this point in time. So if somebody would be willing to make a motion to approve, deny, or modify, let's do that now, please.
Tom Mueller, I make a motion to approve special permit application number 2021-02-25-01 for live outdoor entertainment at Clocktown Brewery.
Thank you. And Tom, just because there was that discrepancy in the hours, I would like you to please amend your motion to state the specific hours on the specific days. Perhaps Stacy can help us with that.
Yeah, if you could put that back up, because all I can look at is the original application.
Hang on.
Somebody's dog's barking.
We all have pets, Stacy.
Okay, I'm amending the motion to approve the special permit application for live entertainment at Clocktown Brewery to include the hours on Thursday and Friday between 2 and 10 p.m., Saturday and Sunday, 12 to 10 p.m.
Thank you very much for clarifying that, Tom. A motion has been made. Does anybody wish to second the amended motion?
Bill Guerrero,
Hello?
second.
Thank you, Bill. Let's see, a motion's been made and seconded. Is there any discussion on the motion? Okay, very good. Bill Guerrero, how do you vote on the motion?
Bill Guerrero, aye.
Tom Mueller, how do you vote on the motion?
Tom Mueller, aye.
Elizabeth Jamison, how do you vote on the motion?
Elizabeth Jamison, I.
And Brian Davis, how do you vote on the motion?
Brian Davis, aye.
And Ralph Salone also votes aye. So the motion carries unanimously. So I think we're done, Mr. LaCapra.
Thank
Or I
you.
think you're done. We have a little bit of stuff ahead of us.
Thank you.
Good luck.
All right.
One of these days, I'm actually going to come down there and check out the area.
Love to have you.
Have a good evening, and
Okay.
thank you for your application. And
Thank
thank you to everyone else that logged in and commented on this. It's great to have the public input. Stacy?
Oh, no, I was just going to say, if Mr. LaCapra was going to be hanging along longer, there was something to add to the agenda.
Yeah, did you want to add it now, Stacy, or?
Well, whatever Mr. Salone thinks.
I'm sorry, I got caught off guard. Was there a request to add something to the agenda?
Yes.
Help me out, Stacy. I'm struggling.
I don't know if you wanted to do that now. There was a request for a site plan approval for two temporary events. One in May, on May 2nd, and one again in September.
And if I remember correctly, site plan approval does not require a public hearing?
No, it does not.
Would anyone wish to amend the agenda to add in the additional application?
Tom Mueller, so moved.
Thank you. Is there a second to the motion?
Brian Davis, I'll second.
Thank you. Motion's been made and seconded. Is there any discussion on the motion? Bill Guerrero, how do you vote?
Bill Guerrero, aye.
Tom Mueller, how do you vote?
Tom Mueller, aye.
Elizabeth Jamison, how do you vote?
Elizabeth Jamison, I.
And Brian Davis, how do you vote?
Brian Davis, aye.
All right, and Ralph Salone also votes aye, so it's a unanimous decision. All right, so we will add that to the agenda, and I guess now is as good a time as any to talk about it, right?
Certainly.
So let's see. This proposal's for a temporary permit to hold a cornhole event put on by the Connecticut Cornhole Association on Sunday, May 2nd, 2021 from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. The event will be held in the brewery corner parking lot as referenced on the site plan provided. Outdoor bar service, beer and wine only, will be provided and 2 portable restrooms will be brought in on site. The event will consist of 40 teams, 80 players total, plus spectators. Food will be provided by the brewery. Spectator parking will be in the side parking lot along Elm and Maple Streets. Stacy, I
sorry.
need you to refresh my memory on event permits. Was there a limit on the number of events per permit or per year or something like that? Or did we change that? I don't recall.
I'd have to bring it up and refresh my memory. It's not jumping out at me that way, but let me just double check.
The regulation says 30.
I just want to, yeah, I just
That
want
is
to make
30
sure,
days in duration.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that if we approve something for 2 events now, that you're not locked out from doing something in the middle. You know what I mean?
It says all temporary permits can't exceed 30 days per property per calendar year. There's not a time.
So,
It doesn't say a time frame.
all right, so these are 2 events. They're
That are 1 day each.
They're 1 day each, so we
Right,
have a
it's
total
2
of 2
days.
days.
Yes.
So, the way I read it, you have a total of 28 additional days that you
That's
could do
correct.
stuff on.
Yeah. And yeah, that's according to yeah, considerations in Article 10. Yeah. So.
Okay. Any member of the commission have questions, comments, or concerns for the applicant?
You see on the site plan there, A is in the key up above. A would be the playing area. B would be the outdoor service bar. C would be the restrooms, and then the everyone park in the corner, the parking lot there. D, where we have plenty of parking.
I apologize, I can't rotate this, but this is Maple Street right here.
The brewery.
And then obviously back
the
is right
the
here.
with the patio in the front. Yep.
And then these are the areas that Mr. LeCapper was just explaining about. The fire marshal is already aware and has reached out to Torrington Area Health District in order to assure any requirements that there may be under the current situation with COVID. So, and Mr. LeCapper is going to contact the police department and do whatever is required on that end as well.
Yeah, I did contact the liquor commission. So the only thing required there is a notification. I have to fill out a form with a notification and pay $190 for the liquor service outside.
I think what Stacy was talking about, was there any limit on the head count for an outdoor gathering because of COVID?
Well, the short answer on that is the fire marshal was waiting to hear back from Torrington Area Health District on that. He did not get a response back as of this meeting.
I think I'm gonna say that if we were to approve this, that we, as the Planning and Zoning Commission, don't want to be in the business of monitoring head counts for compliance with temporary COVID
Exactly.
regulations. That's
Exactly.
not
That's outside of our purview.
Yeah, way outside. So I don't even think that should be part of this discussion. Any other questions, comments, or concerns from anyone?
Yeah, I mean, all the regulations say right now is outdoor event venues can increase to 50% capacity, capped at 10,000 people. So I mean, if this is considered an
So as
outdoor
long as you
venue-
keep it, yeah, as long as you keep it under 10,000, you're good, right?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I'm
That might be hard to do, right?
not sure what the capacity would be back there, but that's what that was started April 2nd.
That'd be every person in Thomaston plus their pets.
So I don't expect that much. Yeah. So I mean, I don't. It says social or recreational gatherings at commercial venues, 100 indoors, 200 outdoors. So is this a recreational gathering?
It doesn't matter because
Yeah.
it's not in our domain to regulate that.
Right. So that's something that I have to worry about. Yeah.
So if nobody else has any questions, comments, or concerns, I guess I would entertain a motion to approve, deny, or modify this site plan.
Tom Mueller, I make a motion to approve the site plan as presented.
Thanks. Is there a second on the motion?
Brian Davis, I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion on the motion? Bill Guerrera, how do you vote?
Bill Guerrero, aye.
Tom Mueller, how do you vote?
Tom Mueller, aye.
Elizabeth Jamison, how do you vote? You're muted, Liz.
Thumbs up.
I'm not sure a thumbs up counts. Does it, Stacy? Do we actually have to hear?
Someone has to unmute her.
Here. Can you?
There you go, Liz. Let's hear you now.
Elizabeth Jamison, I.
Thank you. And Brian Davis, how do you vote?
Brian Davis, aye.
And Ralph Salone also votes aye, so that motion carries unanimously.
Okay.
Anything else, Mr. LaCapra?
I think I've taken up enough of your time. Thank you all. I appreciate the commission's patience. Thank you.
Have a good evening. We'll see you
All right.
later.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
So next on our agenda is approval of the minutes from the March 3rd meeting. I'm gonna give everyone a couple of minutes to read through them, and then we'll see what we have to say about them. I did not pick up on anything in the minutes that needs to be changed. I don't know if anybody else did. If everyone's had enough time to go through them, I would entertain a motion to accept or modify.
Tom Mueller, I make a motion to accept the minutes of the March 3rd meeting as presented.
Thank you. Is there a second to the motion?
Elizabeth Jamison, second.
Thank you. Any discussion on the motion? Bill Guerrera, how do you vote?
Bill Guerra, aye.
Tom Mueller, how do you vote?
Tom Mueller, aye.
Elizabeth Jamison, how do you vote?
Elizabeth Jamison, I.
And Brian Davis, how do you vote?
Brian Davis, aye.
Ralph Salone also votes aye, so that motion carries unanimously. Next, we have old business draft amendments to S&E controls and addition of low impact development and stormwater management regulations required per the MS4 general permit. What do
And
you have to tell us about that, Stacy?
we kept it on there largely as a placeholder. We discussed it in depth at our last meeting, but it's on here until the commission's consensus was to hold off on any text amendment public hearings until we were back live in person.
Yes, and I still think that's a good idea. Let's see. Next, we have draft regulation amendments, commercial vehicles, signs, solar, detached accessory apartments, etc. What's new and exciting there? Anything?
Well, commercial vehicles and detached accessory apartments, the same as the previous.
I think we pretty much beat those horses to death. So
yeah,
when,
the only outstanding remaining thing that we might want to, and I don't know if you want to do it right now, but I had at Elizabeth's request forwarded around the draft copy of the proposed amendments to the sign regulations that had been reviewed and approved by Attorney Byrne. So I didn't know
so
if you want.
yes, I saw that, and I guess now is as good a time as any. It's young. The night is young. It's only 8:30.
Okay.
I just want to raise one question on that if I could.
Go right
Sure.
ahead.
So it's two parts. I want to know what the consensus is on, I guess, the first definition of, I guess, A 2.46A, a sign where it's painted. Let's see. I'm sorry.
Well, more specifically, Elizabeth, what are your concerns with that definition?
That someone could just paint anything on their house and not call it a sign and fit themselves outside of these regs and just put letters and numbers and paint it something blatantly on a residence. I'm more concerned with residences, or if it is commercial, I feel like it still needs to be like somehow defined. Maybe this definition fits it as is on 2.46A, where it says a name, identification, display, or illustration, is affixed to, painted, or represented directly. Because I just feel like if anyone wants to just paint anything, it could also be, there's graffiti and there's signs and there's regulations and there's not. Just one thing that comes to mind, two things that come to mind, two examples. One, years ago when there was that health food store in Litchfield on Route 202, if anyone knows it or remembers it, near Friendship Baptist Church, they painted a like that sunrise. There was no logos, but if that constituted a sign, and if it did, does it fit in within the square footage rule? Number two, I think it's 493 East Main with the bull and the bear. I think that's the address. With the new clock, I didn't get a chance to look up that exact address, and it's pretty and it's beautiful, but I just don't know if that would constitute on the little stone wall on the corner. Would something like a symbol constitute a sign? A symbol, maybe not a word. That's I just wanted to get clarity on what, now's the opportunity to just tweak something if there's a consensus on it. That's all.
Well, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I think Elizabeth made some really good points. And the one that is up front in my mind is, I know we have part of the regulations establishes size limits for the sign, but what if someone had a building and the side of the building was visible from the street, and they wanted to use the whole entire side of the building as an advertisement. So they went ahead and painted the actual side of the building as an advertising sign. How would that be addressed here?
Well, there is in the definition of flat wall or facade mounted sign, a sign affixed directly to or painted on or otherwise inscribed on an exterior wall and confined within the limits thereof of any building and which projects from that surface less than 12 inches at all points. So basically that would cover.
Where are you reading that?
So, all right, so
on
1P.
page 2.
Yeah,
Okay.
letter P. So I guess, yeah, does that meet it, or is there some, we don't have to get in a discussion about it now. People can think about it. I just want to put it out there. What if people start putting things on blocks and walls,
Excuse me.
on buildings, that kind of thing? How do we want to, do I want to be a control freak? No. Is there artwork? Yes, but where's that fine line? And just put that thought out there about, thinking about it, because I feel like, a consistency and a rhythm, and a character, of the town could be maintained if there's, you just, have one like this and one like that. And that's a different matter actually than just people doing whatever they want. But I feel like there should be whatever that parameter is, like what that consensus is. So when you say fixed and projects, I feel like that's that's separate from the building, like his example.
But I guess affixed directly to or painted on.
Yeah, the painted on part, I think would capture it as the definition of a sign to address that part of Elizabeth's concerns. But now, would we also limit the size of the
Yeah,
painting?
I'm trying to get down to where it would be. In residential zones, and you'll note that again, I had the specific measurements in blue, because that's obviously for commission discussion what you wanted. I filled in where it was covered in our current regs. I filled in the number that is currently in our regs.
Okay.
And then I specified the type of signs that would be permitted in a residential neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
And the following signs are expressly prohibited. So those would be the ones that would be prohibited. I hadn't done the facade one, but I suppose that could potentially be in here.
I feel like it opens up a can. Yeah, like, is there something to be tweaked? Or it's not only residential, it's also commercial, because commercial could take that other, route of saying, well, I'm commercial, so therefore I can just spray paint whatever I want. And then if I fit within this size, I can just blast it. I feel like signs, if we're going to make regulations, why let people spray paint their buildings? If I know I'm going to an extreme, but why make regs if we're just going to allow people to just all do that and they don't have to, have some kind of, character or some kind of, theme or purpose, that's different. So I guess
there is a limit in here. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Elizabeth.
Oh, no,
just
go
to
ahead.
go to Ralph's point, this would be for the commercial zone, specifically addressing the flat wall mounted signage. No more than one sign per business on the lot. Total maximum permitted sign area for the lot shall be measured in square feet and equal to the number of linear feet of building frontage, which again is exactly what we have now. And then information what to do when a business faces the street or does not face the street. If there's multiple businesses, the same thing that we do now, where it's divided by the amount of
is that
frontage they have.
8.8?
8.8 B.
So, all right. So does that say it should be on a different surface than the actual building surface, I guess? Or?
No, because up front we defined what a wall mounted sign would be, and that included the painted on type of thing. So we defined what it is, and now here we're defining how much they can have.
All right, so you're confining it. or limiting it, regulating it.
Yeah, and again, this is up for discussion if you want.
And that's commercial.
Yeah. But this is essentially what they have now. Whatever is your building frontage is the total amount of signage you can have.
Yeah, right. In terms of like the size, and
yes,
I would just prefer real signs, I guess, but whatever, you know what I mean? You get what I'm saying. So
I hear what you're saying.
And if there's a way to say, like, I just can't spray paint whatever you want on the side or the front.
I actually think there might be
residential, and if we can't legally do it, we can't. But if we can encourage, that's it, and we don't have to get. There's so many, I guess, caveat.
I went from a model sign code that was developed post the Supreme Court decision.
Yeah.
So and I do recall there was something in there pertaining to graffiti. So
Okay.
I can take a look at that and see what it says and get that to you guys and see if
Okay.
that's something you want to include.
And then there's the PDD, like if we can take it to another level somehow too. I don't know, but that's it. I just wanted to point that out in terms of tweaking it, just knowing that people could just kind of put things somewhere and not call it they could say it's not a sign, but maybe it is.
I think the way it's written now, I think they would have a lot of difficulty saying that it's not a sign with this definition that we're looking at here. And the other thing I want to point out is, remember, we can't regulate what the sign contains. Because then it becomes a free speech kind of thing.
I get that too. But we are allowed to have regs. And if that's not the line, then there is none, I don't think, in my opinion. You know what I mean? If we're gonna have regulations, then that means like we don't have regulations except for size.
Well, I think that's it. I think we can regulate content and placement. I think we can regulate size and placement, but we cannot regulate content.
Yes, our regulations have to be content neutral, and that's the whole reason for.
No, I'm saying
what we're doing here.
Spray paint them on the wall, and if you're saying the graffiti piece takes care of that.
It may. So I hadn't included it, but I can go back and take another look and see if it will address what your concern is.
I will never limit free speech, but I just don't think I just don't think anyone should ever be able to just say, "No, this is it." That's all.
Okay.
It's like if there's a sign regulation, there's guidelines fit within it, and then if there's not, then that means it's not. I don't know, and I don't know if symbols or words, is the key. I think both are. So
I don't know, because what one person considers a symbol or graffiti, another person may consider art. So
I know exactly, but we again, it's still dimensions. So
but at that point we're getting into content, and we cannot regulate content.
No, I said dimensions.
Defines a sign versus what is art. I mean, that's the rabbit hole where you're going down.
No, I'm not. No.
If somebody, if I painted a mural on the side of my house that you could see from the side, because you can see the side of my house from the street, is that a sign, or is that me?
Like on East Main, the bear.
That's that. Where do you draw the line?
No, the bear, like the bear and the bull on the stone wall, is that a sign? I'm saying there's the residential aspect where, the people that do that for the mortgages or the cars, I guess we can't, I don't know. But then there's that where you're not on the house, and then you're putting that, I don't know.
Yeah, it's
I'm just saying there has to be something.
Advertising, are they promoting something with those symbols, or are they just art?
I mean, yeah, suppose a business painted their logo on the side of the building, the entire side of the building. Is there any, in my mind, that's a sign, because it's their logo.
Well, because it's advertising.
But is there anything in our regs that would spike
You know what I
that
mean?
out
There's
as a
gotta be
sign?
something like why, if they can do that though, you're just saying they can do whatever they want, but they just limit the size. But we have like, how many pages is this? It's like 3 pages. You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't, there's gotta be something that fits or something that clarifies that, in my opinion, a little better.
I hear what your
I write
concern is,
3
and I will
pages of
look into that.
regs to like, just let people just go, oh, like, I mean. so
No, I
maybe-
hear what
maybe
you're
that
saying.
is, yeah, maybe the graffiti thing that you can tweak a look into is the solution, and that's all. I just would like to encourage like a, of course, I don't expect everyone to look the same. I don't expect them to be the same size. I don't expect them to be the same lettering. But I would expect like there's just something, but because I feel like there's like ones up here on stilts, there's ones up here on this, and it actually makes more confusion. I remember when Jeremy was here, like I can't remember the corner, but like you couldn't see, it blocked a sign, like one of the vehicles like parked on the corner because of the placement. There's got to be like a similar theme or a similar placement and a similar to make a continuity to, to visually see it, visual aesthetics. Like, I don't know, just, it's like, and given like different, different buildings, different setbacks, like how far is the building setback? I guess there's more to it than I see or than I look at, and there's no blanket regulation either. But I just, if you don't have something a little bit that tweaks it, I just feel like, people would just spray paint it because I feel like that's what they would do. You know what I mean? You guys, you know what I mean? Without, I won't like go on and on, but I just wanted to. But I guess no one else cares.
No, so if I'm listening to you. So if I'm reading you right, I think we have to ask Stacy to do a little more tweaking, and we'll pick it up again.
And that's all I'm asking is if that could be a thought of tweaking that before, if we go, I don't know when we're ready to go to hearing, but that's why I didn't want to spend too much time, but I want to put that out there when it comes to that kind of thing, a surface of just something, raw and not.
Sure. Yep. So Stace, you're muted. Before you go to answer me, you have to unmute. But I guess that's the thing to do, a little more research.
No
a little more
problem.
tweaking, and then
No
we'll
problem.
pick it up again next
I mean,
month.
when you just think of, when you look at the streetscape down East Main, it's kind of like all like a mishmash of stuff. Doesn't have to be identical, no, but you could better see, if there's like a more uniformity with heights or sizes, and there's, obviously there's some grandfathered cases, whatever, but just whatever, something to think about going forward, because if you don't, it's always going to be all over the place. That's my 2 cents.
Not a problem.
That was a quarter, I think, not 2 cents.
She can
Right,
have a
it was
quarter.
only 7 minutes.
Yeah, you're lucky you don't have to follow the egg timer rule. All right, so let's continue. What do I have next? All right, so we'll continue. We'll keep that on the agenda for our next meeting, and we'll keep working on it. And then now we're into new business, and we have special permit number 2. I went on a little vacation there. This is an application for a special permit, right, Stacy? Stace, you're muted.
I think I was muted. My apologies. Okay, yeah,
So
this is
is
an
your-
application for special permit. All 3 of these are.
Okay, the word application is not in there. That
Okay.
derailed the train. All right, so we have an application for a special permit number 2021-03-01 per section 21.10 for existing accessory apartment at 24 Cedar Mountain Road in an RA 80 zone. And the applicants are Robert and Michelle Warner. Do the applicants happen to be here? Yes, I see a Robert Warner. I think this is, the application itself is pretty cut and dried. So I think what we'll do is we'll ask the applicant if they have anything to add to it. Mr. Warner and Michelle Warner, if you're there, you can comment.
Yep, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, no, I have nothing more to add.
Okay, so this does require a special permit does require a public hearing. So I think again, in the for expedience sake, if we could just have a motion to accept the special permit application and set the public hearing for our May 5th regular meeting.
Tom Mueller, so moved.
Thank you. Is there a second to the motion?
Everybody should be unmuted now.
Oh, Elizabeth Jamison, second. I was looking
Thank you.
for that.
Any discussion on the motion? Bill Guerrera, how do you vote?
Bill Guerrero, aye.
Tom Mueller, how do you vote?
Tom Mueller, aye.
Elizabeth Jamison, how do you vote?
Elizabeth Jamison, aye.
Brian Davis, how do you vote?
Brian Davis, aye.
And Ralph Salone also votes aye. So the motion carries unanimously. And Mr. Warner, we will see you at our next meeting.
Okay, thank you very much.
Have a good evening.
You too.
Coming up next is a special permit application number 2021-03-31-01 for section 21.10 for an accessory apartment at 154 Baum Drive in an RA 80 residential zone. And the applicant is Susan Del Bueno. And I saw her in here too.
She is in here.
Unmute her. And again, this is kind of a cut and dried application. Susan, if you have anything you'd like to add or tell us, now's your chance.
I just when you ask for a full kitchen and a full bathroom, I don't understand the terminology. Please forgive. What does full mean?
So a full kitchen would be, the stove, the sink, the refrigerator, and I think that's it, right, Stacy? Stove, sink, refrigerator.
Pretty much, all the things that you would expect to see in a complete kitchen in a residence. And similarly in a bathroom, it wouldn't just be a toilet, it would be a toilet and either a tub or a shower.
And a sink.
Okay.
Yeah, and a sink, obviously. Yeah.
Okay, that helps. Thank you. And then on number 9, the utility connections will come from what are the health codes and how do I make sure I'm complying to that?
Can you, Stacy, can you go to the application number 9 so we can see what it says?
Oh, okay. Oh. Are you referring to the language in the zoning regulations, or are you referring to? Okay.
I just want to make sure I'm doing this right.
Yeah, no, the health code would mean, are you on, do you have a septic or do you have a,
Septic.
or you're on septic? That would mean Torrington Area Health District approval for the additional apartment.
Okay.
And, basically they would be certifying that you have the capacity for the main residence, for the caretaker's apartment, and for the accessory apartment.
Okay, is there anything else I need to know or make sure I do?
Do you have a well or are you on Connecticut water?
I have a well.
Okay, then it's all one-stop shopping at Torrington Area Health District,
Okay, that's good.
confirming all of that.
Okay, those were my two questions. I went through everything. I'm complying according to everything I've read with what we're thinking about. Because we are doing this at the initial stage, and we're going to check with an engineer and an architect, of course, but we don't want to get ahead of ourselves. I just went with a ruler and said it looks like it's 20 by 15. If it needs to be adjusted less or more in a small way, is that a problem with the way I'm applying?
Provided you meet the regulations and provided the
Okay,
area that you're going to have as an apartment, if it's approved, as long as you meet that maximum square footage in
the
relation to your main
750.
house. Yes.
Okay, got it. Okay, I'll make sure that happens. Okay, those are the only things I thought might come up that I needed to make sure were good. Do you have any questions?
No, so I'm gonna tell you the same thing I told Mr. Warner. This does require a public hearing. So
Mhm.
really all we can do tonight is accept the application
I
and
see.
set the public hearing date. The other thing I
Okay,
have to tell you, I know your plans have not completely gelled yet, but there is a clock imposed on us by the state, and
of
it
course.
starts ticking tonight. So
Okay,
certain things have to happen within certain periods of time. Uh, uh, and if we get to the end, we're forced to make a decision, whether
sure.
or not you have all the information and are ready. And Stacy, what are those timeframes again?
Once the public hearing opens, there's 35 days for the public hearing unless a continuance is granted. That could be up to 65 days.
And then once the public hearing is closed, we have a certain amount of
Six-
days to act.
Yes, you have 65 days from there to act.
So, um, Ms. Del Bueno,
Yeah,
you would really need to make sure that all your plans are set in stone actually, before the end of the public hearing, because once the public hearing ends, we cannot bring in new evidence or new data.
got it.
So yeah, you're going to want to, in time for the public hearing, you're going to want to have a fairly good idea what you are envisioning for the apartment and its layout.
Okay,
So I just want to
I mean,
double check.
alternatively, if you wanted in an effort to give yourself additional time, Ms. Del Bueno, the commission normally schedules for the next meeting, but if you wanted additional time to put this all together, there's nothing saying they couldn't
Yeah.
schedule the meeting for their June meeting.
no,
The hearing.
thank you. I appreciate that offer. We want to get this done as expeditiously as possible and don't want to move forward without permission, of course. So getting the permission is the first priority. And I'll make sure that I at least work with an engineer or an architect before that meeting and make sure everything's acceptable.
Do
Okay.
you think you'll have everything ready by the May meeting, with an engineer and or
Yeah,
architect?
absolutely.
I think you might be cutting yourself short, but okay.
Okay,
So then, you would prefer that we set the public hearing for the May meeting?
please.
Okay. So I would entertain first of all, let me make sure nobody else on the commission has any questions, do they? All right, so I would entertain a motion to accept this application and set the public hearing for our May 7th meeting. I'm sorry, May
Tommy, was so
5th.
moved.
I made a mistake, May 5th.
It's May 5th.
Yeah,
May 5th, Wednesday, May 5th.
is there a second to the motion?
I'll second. Yeah.
Thank you. And any discussion on the motion? Bill Guerrero, how do you vote?
Bill Guerrero, aye.
Tom Mueller, how do you vote?
Tom Mueller, aye.
Elizabeth Jamison, how do you vote?
Elizabeth Jamison, I.
And Brian Davis, how do you vote?
Brian Davis, aye.
And Ralph Salone also votes aye. So you're all set, Mr. Bueno, and we will see you at the May meeting.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Good night.
Good night.
Let's see. Next on our agenda is special permit number 2021-04-01-01 per section 21.10 for existing accessory apartment at 24 Edwin Lane in an RA 80 zone. And the applicant is Bernard McCann. And
He is present.
Here. Yes.
Mr. McCann, if you can unmute, you should be okay from my end.
All right,
There you go.
can you hear me now?
Yes, we
Yes.
can.
Hello. Good evening. I just bought this house in September, and unfortunately, I was duped by the owner who told me they took care of this process. I'm under the gun because I'm trying to get solar panels put on the roof here, and I cannot get the permit until this is straightened out. I have paid the $2,000 sewer connection fee. And I would like to just push this through so I can get these panels, because if I don't get this approved tonight or get my permit for my solar panels, I'm losing the company. I can't wait another month for this.
We cannot approve it tonight.
Can I get the permit for the solar panels?
Mr. McCann, my apologies if you don't know yet. I thought it got sent out to you. Once you submitted the application and the fee, we did move that forward. We did know that you had your your permit application in there. So it has already been, you should be getting it in the mail sometime soon.
Oh, okay, because I haven't heard back from the solar company. Told me that I got to get this approved or else they're gonna, I'm gonna lose them and I'd have to wait for the whole process to start again. Unfortunately, I inherited this nightmare, and it doesn't really seem fair that I have to wait another whole month for something that I'm not even gonna ever rent out. It's just down there. I inherited it. It's never gonna get rented out. I have no inclination to ever rent this out down there at all.
Well, you do have the option of decommissioning it, so to speak.
I understand all that, but I'm not gonna go, listen, one of the allures for me buying the house was I love to cook. I love to have the second oven down there. The bathroom is totally tiled. I don't want to wreck the joint, but I'm never gonna rent it out. It's just something that I inherited. I mean, I know it's
The previous,
later.
The previous owner put this in, did not obtain any approvals. I had started the enforcement process with them. And actually, I believe sent them 2 letters, and unfortunately, they advised Mr. McCann they had taken care of all this.
Right, and they should have never been allowed to sell it without taking care of it. I don't know how that ever slipped through the cracks. But, unfortunately, I'm sitting here paying all kinds of extra money for something that I never planned on renting out. And it would even cost me more money to do away with it.
I think you should go back to the company that did your title search, because they missed those issues that were on the land record.
Right.
But that's for you to decide. So anyways, again, we cannot approve this tonight. All we can do is accept the application, and it does require a public hearing. So the best we can do is set the public hearing for our May meeting.
Okay.
And again, Mr. McCann, once you submitted your special permit application and fee, I did sign off for zoning. And I actually just heard from the administrative assistant who processes the building officials' permits, and she says that it was in fact improved and sent out. So
And they're mailing it to me?
Yes, it goes to the property owner.
Okay, all right. Appreciate it, thank you.
Not a problem.
All right, so does anyone care to make a motion to accept this application and set the public hearing for our May 7th meeting? I did it again, our May 5th meeting.
Tom Mueller, so moved.
Thank you. Is there a second to the motion?
Elizabeth Jamison, second.
Thank you. Bill Guerrero, how do you vote?
Bill Guerrero, aye.
Tom Mueller, how do you vote?
Tom Mueller, aye.
Elizabeth Jamison, how do you vote?
Elizabeth Jamison, aye.
And Brian Davis, how do you vote?
Brian Davis, aye.
And Ralph Salone also votes aye, so that motion also carries unanimously. And Mr. McCann, we'll see you back at our next meeting.
Thanks so much.
Have a good evening.
You too.
Communications, reports of officers, staff, and committees. I know you sent the ZEO report out
Yes.
early, but I didn't get a chance to read it.
Oh, shame on you.
You want to give us the highlights?
Okay, hang on one second. I'm pulling it up. Let's see, highlights. I guess in the ongoing saga of the car issue, the 24 unregistered cars, our attorney has sent letters to all three of the main locations things are stored. We have the owner of the cars has not contacted me at all since he sent that letter via Marshall.
Have the owners of the properties contacted you?
Well, the owner of the second property is his sister. She has been in regular contact. She also happens to be the manager of the third location, the bar. That is the third location where these are stored. And the owners there, my understanding is that they've pretty much said this problem is yours to fix. So, she is in regular communication. One car was removed from her house. One car was removed from the bar. Part
Only
of the
22
issue,
more to go, right?
yeah, part of the issue is she's not in possession of title or keys. And the owner of the cars is not willing to assist her. So it is taking her some time. I explained to her that things are probably still going to proceed. However, if she keeps plugging away at it, by the time we get to any sort of a court action, for all we know, she could have it all done. And in that case, we'd be only too happy to drop the whole thing. So
I think that's the best you could probably do for her.
Yeah. So that's where that is at. I'm trying to think if anything else is jumping out here. Let's see. There was something that I was called out to on 176 Bayberry Drive. We received a complaint from a neighbor that the property owner had been bringing a large quantity of material onto the site and that the trucks were leaving a large mess in the road. I got up there. There was indeed a large mess on several hundred feet of Bayberry Drive. Found out that the material came from the road reconstruction project. So I contacted Public Works. They in turn contacted the project engineer overseeing, who in turn contacted the contractor. Street sweepers were sent out to clean everything up. Ultimately, Doug, it was a little challenging figuring out what was going on, but ultimately found out he did in fact have a approval from you guys to do what he was doing. It was issued back in 2017. He's basically creating an access way to another lot he owns, a large lot he owns that's landlocked, for the purpose of a timber harvest that has been approved by the Wetlands Commission. It's just that the access way he's creating, it's a steep slope and he's bringing it up to a softer grade. And in order to do that, it is a ton of material. So that was an interesting situation, but I'm checking on it again. I have since in the interim gone out and met the project manager for the road construction project. We talked a little bit and he's going to stay on top of making sure that Bayberry remains clean. And obviously I'll be checking and making sure that there's no other issues out there.
So the project is being done by a contractor, right? Not by the town workers, right?
No, it's Dorito Construction, I believe, is it.
So if they make a mess again and the town has to go in and clean it up, is there the possibility of going back to the contractor for the cost of the cleanup?
My understanding is the contractor was told to clean it up and the contractor was the one who cleaned it up.
Oh, when you said street sweepers, I assumed it was the town.
No, no,
Oh, okay. Well, that's even better then. Okay.
absolutely.
All right. Anything else you want to point out?
A lot of these have been on here for a little bit, so you kind of know what's going on. And nothing else is, 15 Goodwin Court, that's the one they built the pergola without benefit of any permits. That is also in Attorney Burns' hands. They had responded to me briefly, but never came in to follow up on it and made it clear they didn't want to take it down. So off to Attorney Byrne it unfortunately went. So
Does it have it doesn't have a foundation, does it?
no, it would be very easy to take down. It's just they don't want to. I mean, it's a
Well,
nice looking structure. I can see why they would want it. Unfortunately, there's no way it can be made to comply.
Oh, well, my next thing was I would think it would be easy to move, but if there's no way to make it comply, well,
It's a very small lot and I don't see how they could make it. They are well over coverage and it's really not wide enough for them to put it anywhere.
hmm.
And
They
I
can always go to-
honestly,
they
they
always
can
go to
try.
ZBA, yeah.
They can
They can always
try.
go- yeah.
I don't know that a gazebo would be considered something, worthy of a hardship, but that's certainly something they could try for. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else you want to bring up?
I think that's, I was able to close out a couple. I think the one down here, you're probably interested in seeing.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought I'd see the day I'd be able to put this in the closeout area, but there it is.
I'm still not sure it belongs there, but okay.
Well, as far as it's the settlement of the court case and they are not working on site.
I'm not sure about that either.
Okay, that I haven't heard anything and I have not seen anything. So please do advise me and then I'll move it if need be. They have the special permit in place. They have not taken care of the bond. However, if they're not doing work, they're not necessarily violating it. There's certainly plenty of people out there who get a special permit and then never put it to use. But if you're telling me there is activity going on out there, then by all means, let me know.
I don't know. I happened to drive by there Sunday and I thought I saw something going on, but I was in a hurry to get where I was going and I didn't circle back and double check.
Okay. Well, like I said, I will, it does not mean I'm not going to continue to monitor it,
Yeah. And when's the last time you were there?
I drive just yesterday, actually.
Remember, was it last year or the year before they were getting ready to blast?
Yes.
And you put a halt to that?
Yes.
I can't tell, but did that area get blasted? Maybe it just looks that way after the winter. I don't know.
I don't believe they did. No. They removed a lot of stuff from site, including material. So maybe there was some material there that they removed and that might be why it looked different.
Maybe. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt on that one.
But yeah, the fire marshal actually rescinded what he had originally approved. So
I know that, but I driving by the other day, it looked like the blasting had taken place, and I'm wondering if it's just the effects of time and weather, or if they really did do something that they shouldn't have been doing.
I mean, I could certainly take another look, but it
Yeah, 'cause
didn't look
you
that way
have-
to me. Yeah.
You have photos from that point,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So you can always,
Oh, do I have photos? Yes.
so you can always compare to.
Absolutely.
If you would do that, please.
Sure.
All right. All right, before we go any further, I see Tom has his hand up. Is that intentional, Tom?
Oh, are you muted, Tom?
He is muted.
Okay, now I'm unmuted.
Did you want to say
I'm
something?
sorry about that.
Well, I muted it, but then I couldn't unmute it. So,
Huh.
Oh,
I agree with Ralph. I went by there on Tuesday, and there are fresh tire marks in that entrance going
Okay.
into the lot.
Okay. Okay.
and it wouldn't surprise me that it wouldn't surprise me if I found out that they were actually trying to do work there or doing work there. So
Fair enough. I will look.
All right, keep your spidey senses honed, okay?
Okay. There you go, rating on my parade.
All right, so next on the agenda is an executive session. If somebody would make a motion, please, to go into an executive session and invite in staff, which is Stacy, and I think, is Pat still on? Yeah,
Pat
and
is still
at this
here.
point. Yeah.
Yes.
Stacy and Pat.
Okay, Tom Mueller, so moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Elizabeth Jamison, second.
Thank you. Bill Guerrera, how do you vote on the motion?
Bill Guerrero, aye.
Tom Mueller, how do you vote?
Tom Mueller, aye.
Elizabeth Jamison, how do you vote?
Elizabeth Jamison, aye.
And Brian Davis, how do you vote?
Brian Davis, aye.
And Ralph Salone also votes aye. So let's make a note that the motion passed at 9:16, and I'm going to ask Stacy to turn off the streaming and the recording.
Okay, just one moment. There's somebody still in the meeting who's going by resident. I'm going to have to ask you to leave at this point for the executive session. Okay, if you do not
Yeah, I don't see
leave,
any action there. You wanna
I'm
dump 'em?
I'm going to have to remove you from the meeting. Have a good evening.
Okay.
Okay, hang on one second, just making sure. All righty. Now let's get